Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Ite Namani.
I remember also walking on the beach. One day he was walking along and a wave that was particularly big broke and came up and he had to jump and dance out of the way. And I said, Srila Prabhupada, even the ocean wants to touch your lotus feet. And he laughed, and I don't remember his exact words, but it was very, very humble. He took that glory that had been given to him and turned it to Krishna. I saw him do that so many times, so many times. A couple of times in the temple in Los Angeles. Once on his birthday, he came in from his morning walk and walked in, paid his obeisances to the deities, and went and sat on the Vyasa-san, and one by one the devotees spoke about the glories of Prabhupada. And of course everyone was speaking how he had saved their lives and how he was saving the world by bringing Krishna consciousness. And he just listened, he accepted with his eyes closed. He was just listening. And then when the last person had spoken and Prabhupada was going to speak, there was a very long silence. He was very quiet for a long time. And you could have heard a pin drop. And you could see the ecstatic symptoms in his body that he was not allowing to fully manifest. But there was some tears coming and he was shivering. And he said, I thank you, when he finally spoke, he said, I thank you all so much for your praise and how much you show your love for me. He said, but truly I have to say that I am just the servant of my beloved Guru Maharaj. And all this is happening by his grace. I am simply his servant and I'm trying to do what he asked me to do. And it is his grace that is allowing this to happen. And then he stopped and there was more tears. And then he said, and actually, all of you are my gurus. He said, my Guru Maharaj has given me this service to do. And I came here with very little. And it is because of you that this is going on. So I offer you my respects as my gurus.
I think the times that I had some of the most interesting interactions with Prabhupada was in airports. Not so much when he would arrive, although sometimes, but when he was leaving, because then it was more casual. There weren't a lot of ceremonies, and you could sit and talk to him. This was a New York airport, and at those days, Prabhupada was leaving, and the security wasn't like it was now, but still, a whole lot of devotees would follow him into the airport. And it was casual, and you could talk to him. It was more intimate. It wasn't a big ceremony, you know. Because a lot of times we came to the airport, we'd do an arti, a whole, Guru Puja right there, So it was very packed in the boarding area. And I could see that there were passengers who were booked for that plane. They couldn't get in. And I could see the gate agents or whatever, the airport people, trying to get devotees to leave so the passengers could get in. Everybody were absorbed in Prabhupada. Everybody just sort of ignoring them, And so I didn't know what to do. I thought this was not good for us to do like that. So I went to Rupanuga, who's still my GBC, and I said to him, look, there's a problem because we filled up the boarding area. And so Rupanuga tried to get people to leave, and everybody was blowing him off because Prabhupada is talking with the people around him and stuff like that. So finally Rupanuga jumps up on a chair, and he goes like this, makes a megaphone with his mouth, and he says, all devotees, leave the boarding area at once. All devotees, get out. And before anybody could move, they're all looking up in shock, you know, before anybody else could move, Prabhupada was up and getting out, walking out. And Rupanuga started laughing. He says, "Not you, Srila Prabhupada." So these are the kind of things that would happen there in the airport. What you saw when Prabhupada did that was this kind of humility. You know, he wasn't outraged. He wasn't mad that somebody. He just was. That's what the authorities said, and he just was going to do it. You know.
In June '68, we had gone to a high school engagement in a Christian school. It was a school for girls, and there were many nuns in the school. And this program was arranged by a French-Canadian devotee called Janardhan Prabhu. He was doing his PhD at that time. So Prabhupada gave the lecture, and as usual after Prabhupada's lecture, he would say, "Any questions?" The same Mr. Mukherjee, who had told me that Prabhupada was a different type of saint, got up from his chair and started attacking Prabhupada. He started saying, "Why do you have to come and preach this philosophy in these Christian countries? They have their own philosophy. You don't need to do this." Devotees were very upset in the way he was being attacked. Prabhupada was not being criticized by the Christian nuns. He was being criticized by one of the people who came in his entourage. So the devotees were very upset, and Prabhupada was very cool. In August, Prabhupada was leaving Montreal to go to America. And he told me, "Gopal, go and call that Mr. Mukherjee." I said, "Prabhupada, he insulted you so badly. Why do you want to see him?" And Prabhupada said, "I must have done something to him in my last life for which he took revenge." So Prabhupada, I called this gentleman, and Prabhupada blessed him before leaving. So from this we can see how magnanimous and merciful Prabhupada was. And even though this man had humiliated Prabhupada, he really attacked Prabhupada very badly. Prabhupada tolerated it, did not utter one word, and in fact he blessed him before leaving. So I think from this example we should draw inspiration and not retaliate the moment somebody criticizes us. We have to learn to practice Sinadapi Sunicena.
So Guru Kripa started a kirtan. And the conch shell blew, and the artik started. And after the ghee lamp was offered, I took it, and for some unknown reason, I went around to all the devotees first and to Srila Prabhupada last. Srila Prabhupada didn't seem disturbed. He was absorbed in chanting the holy name. Guru Kripa was leading. It was very lively, very energetic, lots of dancing. And he was sitting on the Vyasasan we had located there. And he simply took his hands and put them to his head and folded his hands like in appreciation for me offering that to him. So the party continued, and after the ghee lamp, the water was offered to the Gornitai deities we had there. And after it was offered to the deities, I took the pujari handed me the water, and I followed suit as what I had previously done. I went to all the devotees first, and then I went up to Srila Prabhupada last and sprinkled water on his head very respectfully. bowed his head, giving me like he appreciated how I had offered him the water. So the kirtan continued, devotees were dancing, and then the handkerchief, and then the flowers, and the pujari offered me the flowers. I went through all the devotees first, and then I went to Srila Prabhupada last, and Srila Prabhupada bent down and smelled the flowers and gave me a big smile. So I had been there for about 2 weeks, and I had been through this procedure previously, and I'd done it properly, and I don't know why I acted like I did in Srila Prabhupada's presence. It wasn't it was totally unintentional, and I remember thinking in my mind, like when you take a meal, you save the dessert for last. So I was thinking, out of respect for Srila Prabhupada, he's the best, I will give it to him last. And the quality of Srila Prabhupada I get from this is his utmost humility. He wasn't thinking he's, such a big devotee, and why are you giving it to all the other devotees first and me last? There was no struggle in his face, like he was disturbed or upset with me, and he did it 3 times. Usually, if you do something like that 3 times, someone would be a little upset with you, but he didn't say anything to anybody. Of course, afterwards people did say, other people said things to me, but Srila Prabhupada, I never heard said anything to anybody else. And so I, now, 40 years later, here I am in Mayapur, and I'm a senior Prabhupada disciple, and sometimes the ghee lamp comes around, and I remember that, and I don't, if it doesn't come to me before someone doing it in person, I'll remember how Srila Prabhupada acted and struggle with my mind to counteract the pride that I have of thinking that I'm senior, and I deserve the respect and the honor and the the first touch of the ghee lamp, so to speak, like that.
It's Guru Puja time in Bombay Temple, and the temple, the deities had not yet gone over into the big temple. They were still under construction. So it's a Quonset hut, and there's a chipped marble floor, and then Prabhupada had that Vyasa-san with the big round Vyasa-san. Anyway, it was my golden opportunity. It's Guru Puja. I'm in this line, and I've got my flowers, and I get to worship Prabhupada personally. Try that in LA, right? I'm just a rank and filer. So here, and that's one glory of India, was that you did get an opportunity to associate with Prabhupada more intimately. So anyway, I'm standing in line, and I'm thinking in my mind, when I get up to Prabhupada, I said, wow. When I get up to Prabhupada, he's going to manifest himself as this, like he is in LA, how I always pictured him, my commander-in-chief, my Lord and Master, the Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead, Prabhupada. And I will offer my flowers. And so it goes like this, a couple minutes. Finally, it's my turn. And when I get to him, this is how he manifested himself. The most humble person. it struck me that he doesn't want me. He doesn't want anything from me. No, in the material world, that's one reason I became a devotee, really, is that I realized nobody loves me. If I got something, if I got some pot, then they'll be, oh, there we are over at my house, or something, you know what I mean? And it was so frustrating. But here, Prabhupada, he doesn't want anything from you. And according to the 26 qualities, does not desire respect for himself. And that was, he manifested that. And also, it made me want to worship him all the more because he's worshipable.